Following the Battle of Culloden, the British Army began what it called the pacification of the highlands, which was effectively a military occupation of the north of Scotland, with the intention of rattling out and arresting Jacobites or Jacobite sympathisers. Around 3,000 men, women and children were all arrested on suspicion of being a Jacobite. The youngest, a boy at the age of 7. The rich and the powerful were beheaded. Everyone else was either hung, or if you were very unlucky, hung, drawn and quartered. Many died in prison before they ever got the chance to go to trial. If you were, however, a French soldier at the Battle of Culloden and were captured, you were treated as a prisoner of war. You were given food, you were given water, you were given medical attention. The British government then began passing laws and legislation to effectively destroy the Highland way of life, stripped clan chiefs of their power, and either banned or heavily restricted tartan, Highland dress like the kilt, the possession of weapons which consisted of everything from a sword to a shinty stick, Gaelic language, and gathering in large groups like we're doing today. This, however, only applied to men living in Scotland because women were seen as politically inert. However, men, you could get away with doing all of that stuff if you joined the government army, where you were put into a Highland regiment. The two men in the battle, what happened with them? Following his only ever defeat, Charles called off the Jacobite rising and went on the run. He took a boat to Skye before getting a ship to France on the 20th of September. He tried to start up a fifth Jacobite rising, but the French government would not support him. He became physically abusive to his wife, who was granted a divorce by the Pope. He then became a broken alcoholic and died alone in Rome of a stroke on the 31st of January 1788. Cumberland, meanwhile, had a couple of early celebrations. Following his victory at Culloden, he was branded a war hero, given a raise in salary, had a song made about him, See the Conquering Hero Comes. From the English, the name for a flower, Sweet William. From the Scots, the name for a weed, Stinking Billy. However, apart from those early celebrations, Cumberland's post-Culloden life was not that much better off. In his entire military career as Commander-in-Chief of the government army, he only ever had one victory. Where do you think that was?
It's right here.
Yep. Following a series of stunning defeats, and accidentally surrendering to the French, he was disowned by his father King George and never went to fight again. Like Charles, he too died of a stroke on the 31st of October 1765. Culloden was the last ever pitched battle fought on British soil, and changed not just British history, but world history altogether. Many Highlanders, be they Jacobite or not, fled their homes to avoid persecution, either further south into the British Isles, or to the New World to set up new settlements and carry on their traditions.